Please welcome her. She's from Chicago, Illinois, Dr. Lauren Fitzgerald. Here we go, Lauren.
Hi, Sandy. Thank you for the intro. How are you?
You're very welcome. I'm great. And you were on the wake up call 3 years ago.
I was.
And you were like starting out. You were kind of a newer coach,
Pretty
right?
much.
You've been about a year or something. And we were not on camera. So
we were not.
Everybody gets to see you and see that you're not only a coach, you're also a doctor.
I am.
We are going to get to the call because your information today is so important.
Thank you.
But first, what brought you to Beachbody? Why don't you give us your story?
Oh man. So I have a really unusual story because it started off about 5 years ago, February 2014. And I was watching one of my YouTube videos go viral. And this YouTube channel literally started off with me taking my passion for dance and teaching hip hop fitness and helping other people out. And so I'm watching this video hit 1 million views in the first week. And all I can think about is not how exciting it is that this video is going viral, but how fluffy my midsection looks. I know it sounds vain, but here I am. I'm 34 years old at the time. I'm a medical doctor. I've been teaching group fitness since I was 16. I've always been the healthy one. I was teaching 4 hardcore classes a week. I was spending time at the gym doing my typical weight training, HIIT training. I was following everything that I had always advised people to do, eating a low-fat diet that I thought was healthy at the time. And all I could see was, why is my midsection fluffy? Because I knew what I was doing and it made no sense. And so this was kind of the beginning of my next journey, which has nothing to do with me being a medical doctor, but it has everything to do with my passion of learning how to help people become healthier and happier. And this is where I started to realize that, one, you can't out-exercise a bad diet. And I have always loved exercise. I started teaching group fitness when I was 16, like I said. I've been a dancer since I was 3. In fact, I wanted to be Janet Jackson's backup dancer, but that's neither here nor there. But the fact is that exercise has always been my thing. I was one of the few people that during the 4 years of medical school and residency, despite working 80 to 100 hours a week, every week, I would still always exercise. No matter what stage of life I've been at, people have always come to me and asked for advice on how they can lose weight and get healthier. And here I am at 34 and I'm like, okay, something is missing. And this is where I started to really just dig deep into the missing component, which is nutrition, right? And I realized that no matter how much you exercise, if your nutrition isn't on point, both macro and micronutrition, that you really can't out-exercise that bad nutrition. And so I started kind of just really delving into books, podcasts, audiobooks, articles, starting to realize like, okay, the little bit, and most people that went to a conventional medical school will tell you, we're not taught nutrition in medical school. We're taught about the different systems and how to treat them when they're diseased, but we're really not taught how to prevent that disease process by giving your body good nutrition. So I started to learn about all of these different superfoods, and I'll be honest, I had the conventional medical mindset of, okay, these superfoods, this is woo-woo, whatever. And then once I started to learn about them, like adaptogens, medicinal mushrooms, all these things that if I eat, I become healthier and happier. I was like, okay. And so I became a little obsessive, and I've always had a decent social media platform because of my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel has like over 300,000 subscribers. And so I realized that I want to use my platform to help tell people that follow me, okay, it's more than just getting your fitness on with me on Dance Fitness. Like, you've got to change what you eat to get those results that you want. And this is where I started having people in my inbox. Lauren, why are you not a coach? You're coaching people already. Like, we're all guilty. We've all sent those messages before, right? And I will be totally honest. I was that person that, you know, we get ghosted all the time. And I actually didn't ghost people, for the record, but I was that person that was like, you just want to make money off of me because I've got a big social media following and whatever. And I was always kind. I thought that, but I always was like, thanks, but no thanks. But I kept hearing it. And so this is where I thought, okay, let me just look into this coaching thing. But I will tell you that I had the assumptions that everything that I had learned from my fluffy moment, where I started to really delve into nutrition, I realized that most of the nutrition and supplement industry, it's like the wild, wild west. And it's all about profit and not about health. And so these companies put, and I'm not just talking about other MLM companies, I'm talking about the nutrition supplement industry in general. They put ingredients in it that cut corners to make more profit, right? So let me just give you an example of an ingredient that I used to take all the time. I used to be a Splendaholic. And then when I started to learn about how bad artificial sweeteners are for you, like sucralose, I was like, oh my gosh. So I started reading the labels of all of these products that I would, see at whatever, GNC or Walmart or wherever you're getting, or online. And I would realize like, okay, these are full of ingredients that are not good for my body, because I'm learning that food is information. And this information that I'm telling my body is not the information that I want to keep telling it, because you saw what happened. You were doing everything you thought was right, and it didn't help out your overall health and wellness. And in fact, I actually found a functional medicine doctor. I was living in Oklahoma at the time. I found out that I was insulin resistant. At 34, no one would have ever guessed, but insulin resistance is kind of like hypertension, where you don't really get symptoms that are very obvious until you start to see lab results of, oh, you've got signs and symptoms that you're going in the wrong direction. So not only was it a vain moment for me, but it was also a health concern, because I knew that insulin resistance was the step right before pre-diabetes that leads to type 2 diabetes, that leads to a disease process that I, as a physician, had seen the end stages of and wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. So I realized, one, that Beachbody doesn't cut corners with their products, specifically Shakeology. And when I started to look at the ingredients of this thing, I was like, oh, look, I'm already paying extra for the supplement of maca. And I already am paying extra for an additional chlorella. And I'm already and I started to realize these are all ingredients that I've learned about separately, but I'm paying a lot of money to take those supplements every single month. And I'll just be honest, I don't like taking pills. They get stuck in my esophagus and it just doesn't feel comfortable, right? So when I realized that Beachbody wasn't like these other companies that cut corners for profit margins, I was like, okay, let me consider this. And I started to look more, and I realized that even before my fluffy moment, I've always believed that there's no quick fix to a healthy you, right? There's the trifecta, the healthy trifecta of, if you do not make healthy habits of exercise regularly, good nutrition, and supplementing what even the best whole foods-based nutrition program has, you're not going to be your healthiest and happiest. So I realized that the reason why all these Beachbody coaches were in my inbox was because I was pretty much already coaching, but I was doing it for free. And I've been doing it relatively my whole adult life, especially when I started to have my own epiphanies of how important nutrition is. I mean, I always see in January, I always see people start their new weight loss journey, their New Year's resolution, right? And they always, what do? They go join a gym, or they go find a fitness, whatever. And I'm not knocking fitness, but I always think, if they could just focus 90% of their efforts on changing what they eat and what they feed their body, the nutrition and supplementation, their results would not only be way better, but they would be lasting, because that is the key component that so many people are missing. So I realized that not only this whole coaching opportunity aligns with my core beliefs of exercise, nutrition, and supplementation, but it was something that I could make a passive income, and now it's my full-time income, doing what I was doing for free. And let's just be honest, it helps keep you accountable on your own journey as well. So here we are 4.5 years later, and I am so grateful that I decided to be open-minded to all those people that were in my inbox.
Hey, Lauren, you're a medical professional. You're a doctor. You're
Yes.
an anesthesiologist.
Yes.
Okay. So you becoming a coach probably wasn't for the money.
No, absolutely not.
Okay. I'm going to be bold and say that you didn't probably need the money.
Absolutely.
So your decision to become a coach was purely because it aligned with who you are, your values, and that your belief in how the body is supposed to work and supposed to be, the nutrition towards it. So
Absolutely.
that's thank you for that story, because it's interesting how medical professionals still have blind spots
Yes.
in their
Gaps.
health and fitness. And it sounds like you were going down a path that might not have been great at the end.
Yes.
So, what do you see with newer coaches? What do they not understand about Shakeology?
Man, they don't understand how powerful this tool is. I like to view coaching as you've got this tool belt, right? And some of the tools are your own life experience. So obviously a majority of people that are coaches don't have an MD, but you have your own story. You've got your own experiences, life experiences. A lot of people have had the lose weight, gain weight, lose weight, gain weight. So whatever your tools are, you take those tools, and now you have all of these amazing tools that Beachbody gives you. And you've got this massive, heavy tool belt of all these tools that you can help people with. And I truly believe that most coaches don't understand that the most powerful tool that we have in our tool belt that Beachbody gives us is this thing called Shakeology. I mean, if every single coach addressed their products as the drug rep does, and I'm going to tell my story because I've spoken on a lot of team calls, and I love to teach about Shakeology because I know how powerful this tool is. And I go back to my time where I'm no longer actually practicing anesthesia. I'm actually practicing functional medicine because it aligns with my core beliefs. But back in the day when I was in the operating room, I'd just been finishing living in Northern Japan. And I got back to the States, and my first stateside full-time private practice job as an anesthesiologist was in Oklahoma. And that was the first time that I'd ever had drug reps come in, because we were at a military base in Japan, so we didn't have drug reps. So now I'm introduced to the whole drug rep world, right? And, you know, let's be honest, people automatically, the moment they think that you're a salesperson, they'll automatically be like, okay, you just want to sell me, right? So I had that thought when this woman came in who's a drug rep for IV Tylenol, and I immediately was like, thinking in my head, of course, I'm always nice to their face and not saying out loud what I'm thinking, but what I'm thinking is, girl, there is no way you're going to convince me that this drug that has been generic, that's super cheap, oral, IV Tylenol, oral Tylenol, acetaminophen, that you want me to give my patients the IV version because it's way more expensive. I'm not buying it until I open my mind to hear the why. And so this is where I started to realize, like, look, if we know the why behind our product, we'll sell them. And remember, sell is not a bad word if it ultimately ends up in helping people. So I heard this drug rep tell me all of her spiel about why I should consider giving my patients IV Tylenol. And when I realized it, I was like, oh, okay. So I had no idea. Long story short, I ended up using IV Tylenol on almost all of my patients because it helped decrease the amount of IV opioids. So the fentanyls, the morphines, all of the stuff that people are scared about getting addicted to, but they're needed for surgery, right? So I realized that once I opened my mind up to understanding the why, I not only used it on most of my patients, but when I had my own knee surgery, I requested to have IV Tylenol given to me in addition to the other pain medicines that they gave me. So if we as coaches approach our products like a drug rep, I believe that you have the power to help people understand how powerful this one tool is. Now, of course, I could get on a tangent about all the other products, but today we're going to talk about Shakeology. So for me, med school, I got through because of acronyms. I love me some acronyms, and I actually have two different acronyms, but I'm only going to use one of them for Shakeology because it's the cooler one. It's called Papa G, okay? So Papa G is how I teach my new coaches, or when I speak on other team calls, how to break down the understanding, the basics of Shakeology, okay? So let's start off with the obvious. The first P of Papa G is protein, because we all know that the first thing that we have people come back with when they talk about, when we ask, you know, you want to try Shakeology, whatever your spiel is, the first thing they say is, that's okay, I already have a protein shake. Now, I'm not gonna bore you with teaching you all the different protein sources. Do I think that that's necessary for you to know? Absolutely not, especially if you're a brand new coach. And I know this call is watched by a lot of brand new coaches. Maybe later on in your coaching career, that could be part of your personal development. really diving deep into the different protein sources and the different phytonutrients and whatnot. But today, for purposes of learning the Papa G, let's just talk about the basics. So protein. When someone tells me I already got a protein shake, I usually have two different things that I come back with, okay? So the first thing is, and I say it obviously in a non-judgmental way, but in a teaching way, just as the drug rep came to me and taught me what I didn't know about IV Tylenol. So first things first, most people that live in first world countries, and let's just be honest, all of the countries Beachbody is available in are first world countries. A majority of people that live in these countries are not protein deficient. You have to go to the really poor, impoverished parts of the world to find people that are truly protein deficient. And in fact, when I teach them that a majority of people actually eat too much protein. And guess what? Our body is super smart and it never knows when we might go into a famine mode. So when we eat more protein than we need, guess what happens? It gets stored as backup energy source. And so right there, already I'm starting to educate the person that I'm talking about that yes, we have protein, super important. But one, you're probably not protein deficient, you're probably nutrient deficient. And two, you don't need as much protein as you think, unless you're lifting at the gym 2-3 times a day and you're doing a fitness competition or whatever. There's certain stereotypes that definitely need a little bit more protein, but I'm talking to the average person that's walking around, that's just trying to get healthy and happy the easiest way possible, right? So the fact is, the protein deficient thing is something that they all of a sudden are like, oh, okay, talk to me more. And the second thing that I want you to understand about the protein is that the different protein sources, the main thing you need to understand is that the plant-based versus the non-plant-based, there's one major ingredient that's different, right? The plant-based does not have whey protein isolate, okay? So whey protein isolate is the thing that makes the non-vegan Shakeology regular, right? Now, what people don't understand is that out of the different forms of whey protein isolate is definitely the best. It's more expensive. It's the best form of whey. It's the one that causes the least problems with GI and bloating and whatnot. But here's the thing. Most people don't realize that whey is dairy. And most people don't realize that by the time you're 3 years old, there's like 88% of us that lose the ability to break down lactose the way we did in our first years of life. What does that mean? That means that when people cut out dairy in their diet, oftentimes they don't realize that the typical bloat or some other symptoms that come along with a dairy sensitivity go away. So me personally, when I'm coaching a new client, I always recommend going to the plant-based version because the one difference of the protein is the whey protein isolate, okay? So now let's go on Papa G. So the second is antioxidants. And this is kind of a buzzword that a lot of people have heard for years, but I don't necessarily think that you need to know all of the superfood ingredients that are put in there because of antioxidants. Maybe later down the road when you get like really geeky like me and you're like, I want to learn, what is it? Why is camu put in? Well, it's the best source of vitamin C, right? Well, why is that important? That down the road, what you need to understand is that antioxidants fight this thing called free radicals, okay? So our body goes through this process, and when oxidation happens, these things that are bad, they're called free radicals, they form. So when we eat a diet that is rich in a variety of antioxidants, guess what it does? It helps fight those bad boys and get them out of our system. So yes, there are so many superfood ingredients that are added to Shakeology just because of their antioxidant power. You knowing the individual ones, maybe later down the road, but knowing why antioxidants are so important is super, super dope. So the third of Papa G is phytonutrients. Now, phytonutrients in functional medicine, when we are working with people, we put them on food plans, and they are always rich in the color of the rainbow. Why? Because when you are eating whole foods that are rich in the different colors of the rainbow, you're getting so many different phytonutrients. Now, there are, again, it's the same thing goes as for antioxidants and protein. Do you need to know all of the individual ones and why they're added for phytonutrients? No. But if you want to go and do your research about chlorella and why it's so important, go for it. But phytonutrients, this is one little fact that I think that you should know. There is a, and of course I'm not gonna name the company, but there is a company that is, you know, in our niche and a competitor, if you will. And they always say that, well, we have science that backs our products. And so for me, I like to know what the science is. And so when I delved into the science that they gave me, the science was actually not studying their products, but it was studying the phytonutrients in plants and the benefits when humans take in those phytonutrients. And when I saw that, I was like, oh yeah, no, I totally agree with this research. We know, and it's not anything new. Humans have been around for hundreds and hundreds, thousands of years, right? And older healing medicines, so Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, they've realized that when we eat certain plants, we get certain properties. And so the phytonutrients in the variety of superfoods in Shakeology are all benefit to building a healthier, happier immune system, overall health. Obviously, they help with stuff like decreasing cravings and all of those kind of amazing things. But phytonutrients is one of the key ingredients in Shakeology, why I love it so much, okay? So Papa G, so we got protein, we've got antioxidants, we've got phytonutrients. Now, the second A is my favorite, adaptogens. Why? Well, first of all, I just love saying the names of adaptogens because they're fun words like ashwagandha and schisandra, right? But this whole concept was something that was completely new to me. I did not learn about this in medical school, definitely didn't learn about it in my 4 years of anesthesia residency, but the concept of adaptogens is take a plant that grows in a harsh environment. And I always use the tree line as an example, right? So you're in the mountains and you see the tree line and not much grows past that tree line, right? Well, the plants that actually do grow past the tree line have special adaptive properties that help them adapt and overcome and thrive. So back a long time ago, before we had conventional Western medicine and science and research and ability to study stuff, healers saw that if you consume these products, you get benefit. And sure enough, science later made sure that they looked at that belief. And sure enough, if we take in these adaptogenic plants, we get those same properties that help us adapt and overcome. And let's just be honest, we are right now in the middle of a time that we've never faced. I mean, this pandemic is unlike anything that we've ever faced. And if there's ever a time that people have started to realize that this body we get is the most valuable asset we'll ever own. And our immune system is the most important thing about our body. And guess what? Everything, all of the food that you're feeding your body, all of that information is either helping or hurting your body, okay? So these adaptogens are just one way that our body takes in these superfoods and helps us adapt and overcome challenges. I always like to give the example of a styrofoam dump truck, okay? So if you're building a house and you have a dump truck come and bring a whole bunch of stuff to build the foundation of your house, if they dump a whole bunch of styrofoam, what are you gonna, like, you're gonna be like, what is that? I can't build a solid foundation of a house using styrofoam, right? I need some good like cement blocks and whatnot. When we feed our body with fake food, that's exactly what we're doing. Because the food is information, right? It's those macro and micronutrients are what our body uses to build the basis of our cells, that build the organ systems, that build our immune system, that basically make us, right? So when we're eating a whole bunch of fake foods with fake ingredients and terrible artificial stuff, we're feeding our body with styrofoam, essentially. Figuratively, at least. Okay, so now moving on. So we've got Papa G, we've got protein, we've got antioxidants, we have got phytonutrients, we have adaptogens. The last one is my favorite, G. And G just stands for gut health. And it encompasses 3 different components of gut health, okay? The prebiotics, the probiotics, and then digestive enzymes. Now, I believe there's like 5 or 6 different kind of digestive enzymes. Anything that ends with the 3 letters ACE, A-S-E, is an enzyme. Do you need to know all of those different digestive enzymes? Absolutely not. Do you need to know the different sources of prebiotics? Not necessarily, maybe later. What you do need to know is these things. One, gut health is the cornerstone of overall good health. I just went to a functional medicine conference in California in January, and we just heard it time and time again that health truly starts in the gut. And if you've been eating a standard American diet, so SAD, standard American diet, SAD, you 100% have a jacked up gut. And your gut health needs some love. And it doesn't heal overnight, but when I start to coach a new person that's coming from a standard American diet, or what they consider, well, I ate relatively healthy, but then you get to delve in and you realize, like, no, there's definitely some fake foods and Franken foods, I like to say. I always like to remind them, because oftentimes when they start Shakeology and start combining Shakeology with a whole foods-based nutrition approach, oftentimes they start to have GI issues. And I let them know this, and this is really important for you to understand. That is normal, and it's a good sign. It tells me you've got some gut health issues from eating the way you used to eat, but now you're starting to feed your body full of good, whole nutrient-rich food and Shakeology, and now your gut is like, what's going on, right? So if the gas and bloating from the initial change happens, I always let them know, look, do a half a scoop for a week or so. And also, more times than not, it's just telling them, hey, this is normal, and this is actually a good sign, because healing your gut is part of the whole process, the whole journey of you becoming healthier and happier, right? So the other thing that I want you to understand is the probiotics. Again, like the nutrition industry, the supplement industry being the wild, wild west, the probiotic industry is just the same. Companies make so much money by cutting corners and putting probiotics in there that can't even make it past your stomach, okay? Just think, when you take in a probiotic, if it needs to be refrigerated, kept cold before you buy it, and most people think, oh, those are more expensive, that's better for you. What's gonna happen when you ingest that into your body that's 98.6 or whatever your normal is, but it's warmer than the refrigerator, right? And then it hits your stomach, which is very highly acidic, and that's good. Your stomach is supposed to be highly acidic for your digestion to work, right? So what do you think is gonna happen to all of those live cultures that are supposed to be good for your gut health? Yeah, they die. But so why do companies add them? Because you, the consumer, have been convinced that you just need probiotics, and more times than not, the more expensive they are, you think the better they work. And I'm here to tell you that's not the case. So why doesn't every single company that sells a probiotic put microorganisms in it that get to the part of the gut that we need these probiotics to get to? Can you guess? They're more expensive. But can you guess what we did as a company? We didn't cut corners. We chose Bacillus coagulans, which the form of that probiotic, it survives to get to the gut where we're supposed to have the good bacteria that thrives. And that is the probiotic that Shakeology chose. So gut health is not something that happens overnight, but knowing that you're feeding the good bacteria with the prebiotics, right? And we have a few different prebiotic ingredients in Shakeology. You're also giving your body the digestive enzymes to help aid in the digestive process. And then we have a probiotic that actually survives to the part of the small intestine and large intestine where we want it to live, right? So Papa G it's a great place to start so that you understand that what you're drinking is a lot more than just a protein shake. It's a shake full of information, because food is information, and this information tells your body all of the stuff that it's been lacking in your standard American diet. So yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I have a couple questions, because you started your story about early in your career, you were working, or you met a drug rep, okay,
yes,
or pharmaceutical rep.
Right.
And these are representatives of a product.
Right.
And they know all about their product. They know the whys, they know what it does. And so I'm just thinking, as sales reps or coaches, we represent a product where we need to know everything about our product,
Absolutely.
what it does and why it benefits your body. So I'm confused sometimes when coaches say they're overwhelmed by all this information, because you just laid it out so simply, right?
Yes.
But also, do you have to be a doctor to talk about the body in the way that you just did? It was so, so simple. And the Papa G, by the way, is your acronym.
Yes.
You guys can come up with any acronym or mnemonic device, as you did in high school to memorize stuff,
right?
On the test. But do you have to be a doctor
Absolutely
to
not.
sell Shakeology or to talk to people about why they need better gut health?
Absolutely not. And, I think that this is one area that is challenging for me as a coach, because when they look at me, they think, oh, it's easy for you to be a coach because you're a medical doctor. And in fact, my experience with medical doctors being coaches is that more times than not, the ego gets in the way of opening the mind to maybe there is more to learn than what we learned in medical school and residency. And, the fact is, if you have the heart to help people while helping yourself stay on that journey, coaching is literally for everyone. And, I'm about to open up a functional medicine spot here in St. Charles, Illinois. And a lot of people are like, are you going to continue coaching? I'm like, absolutely, because my 4.5 years of coaching has helped me realize that the coach is a vital part of a health and fitness journey. When I have a patient come to see me as a functional medicine doctor, we're going to have this whole long interview, and I'm going to see labs and whatnot. And I'm going to tell them, okay, this is how I want you to eat. And yes, Shakeology, there's very few people that I believe do not benefit from Shakeology. If you have an actual allergy to one of these ingredients, okay, maybe so. But I have Shakeology here at the spa. I drink it every day here. All of my employees are drinking it now. The fact is that you just have to realize that having these tools, understanding how powerful they are, is the only thing that you need to be able to help other people as you continue on your own journey.
Well done. Well put. And thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to close the call with, how you're feeling about coaching after almost 5 years. And it sounds like it's really made a big, big difference for you in addition to what you do as a medical professional. So why don't you share with the audience how rewarding it's been for you?
Absolutely. It's crazy because never in a million years would I have thought that the decision to become a Beachbody coach would change my life in so many ways. I didn't realize the power of having a mentor and being able to mentor others was the whole personal development thing. I'll be honest with you. In my 20s, when I was constantly at Barnes & Noble studying during med school residency, I would see people go down the self-help aisle and be like, oh, okay, they're one of those. And now because of coaching, I cannot get enough of personal development. The person that I am right now at 40 years old, I am a better person because I said yes to coaching. And the doors that have opened because of that decision, the changes in me, the transformation that has happened in me right here is the biggest transformation. Of course, I got my insulin resistance under control and I got my nutrition on point now. But the fact is that the decision to coach, it started off, man, I knew that I would like the feeling that I get when I would help people take back control of their health and happiness. I didn't realize that it was going to change me in such a massive way. And I literally just can't say enough great things. I wouldn't be at a place where I'm opening up a place like Laura Marmed, where I am giving everyone the tools to optimize their health. I wouldn't have understood the importance of a health coach. Health coach is vital in that journey, because it's one thing to get a script of what to eat and what supplements, but man, that's just the beginning. That's just day one. And if it were easy, we'd all be walking around our healthiest and happiest. It's not, though. And having a coach that actually cares about guiding you along that process and coaching you through the good and bad games so that you can reach the goal and then maintain the goal, it's a game changer. And if I wouldn't have had the opportunity to coach as a Beachbody coach, I would have never understood that that is a vital part of someone's health and happiness journey.